That's fine.
What?
Oh, nothing. It's just that, Hina was really worried about you. When you're...
Leave me alone.
Yeah, sure thing. But, could you open up?
Won't allow it.
Huh?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. But...
That's fine.
Huh? What do you want?
It's Byakuya. What? Stop talking. Let's go. Let's go. So, in other words, what? That's right. That's enough. Interesting. Such ignorance. What? So, in other words... That's right. That's right. So, in other words... Interesting. Such ignorance. That's fine. So, in other words, let's go. I don't have time to play with you. Goodbye.
Da-da-da-da-da!
I feel as if...
That's it! I'm sure of it! Well, it would seem...
Damn. No forgiveness!
Indeed. However, well, so then, goodbye.
Of course. I'm sorry. However... Of course.
Most unfortunate. Actually... Indeed. What are you doing out this late?
Oh,
Are you planning to go exercise?
what? How did you know?
Because I can see a blue track jacket sticking out of that duffel bag you're carrying.
Oh, you're right. Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind...
Yes, indeed. Yeah! Huh? Well... Yeah, totally.
How unfortunate.
Huh? Oh, hey, Makoto.
I'm getting tired of waiting. Shall we just... It's the moment you've all been waiting. You remember where to meet. Please go through the red door on the first...
go.
Come on! What are you gonna do?
Let's go.
Hey, come on!
It's true.
Very nice. Well? Thrills, chills, kills! Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial.
So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. Then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then. So, first, let's talk about the murder weapon!
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe.
No, that's wrong. Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell? It was covered in blood. And there was nothing else at the scene that could...
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no...
You looked at her head wound?
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is a fiendish serial killer. The culprit is genocide. Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it!
Hey, so, speaking of Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is!
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is.
The culprit is Genocide Jack.
Case closed.
That's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of... I don't know who that is.
The culprit is Genocide Jack.
Case closed.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of I don't know who that is.
The culprit is Genocide Jack.
Case closed.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of genocide, Jack, I don't know who that is.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of genocide, Jack, I don't know who that is.
The culprit is Genocide
Jack. Case closed.
That's impossible!
Why? What makes it
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of I don't know who that is.
The culprit is
Genocide. Case closed. Why?
What makes it...
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong. I might know one.
What?
I found this file. While I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the...
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for... More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every... According to the file, there appear to be two defining characters. The first is that a bloody mess...
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic. And it's something that isn't...
Never made public? What the...
Why don't you tell them?
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, other than the killer, the only people who know about this...
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in this... So, how did the culprit know about this, when only high-level... There's only one logical... It's because the culprit in this case...
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack?
Yes, in fact...
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity...
Okay, Toko has, like, blodophobia or whatever, remember? What?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be...
I understand. Is it because Genocide Jack...
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file. They thought that the suspect might have... What did they call it?
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly, except Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has...
I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different.
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then...
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tongue without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body, in other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room...
The reason she locked herself in her room, it was to keep her other person...
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her.
Yeah. How can you know?
I do believe you misunderstood. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and she told me, she said, a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack, and that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak...
This is all a lie.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me. This is the real world, not some... Besides, you broke... You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let... But in spite of that...
You said if I kept my promise, you would go. That's the only reason I...
How many times do I have to tell you? I know, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got.
I tried.
But your efforts were useless. Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question.
You don't need...
Hello there! Is it me you were hoping... So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna... I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with...
What the fuck is this?
Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happens... So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind... Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one...
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and... Just like how every inning has a top and a behind every dark and gloomy...
Miss Jack, Jill?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation.
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all... Just kidding.
And it's not true?
Of course it's not true. How dare you? And another thing, the police and government insist. They just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck.
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? It's a necessary evil if you want. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. There's clearly a motive, so there should be
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma... If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory... Well, let's assume that if a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been... So she had a very clear motive to never have that side...
Interesting. Very, but sorry. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm not...
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone.
Maybe so, but nevertheless...
Do you really expect...
Yeah, I couldn't... Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, it's wrong. Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack case.
How's it?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of... Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that, in a way that maybe makes more. There are two clear differences. I got it! For one, the cop... In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same. According to the case file, they were all apparently... But Chihiro died from a blow... Ah, yes! That is Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail? And there's more. One more can...
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto!
Could you please stop comparing killing people? So, are you saying the other difference has to do with...
Remember what the kill... They used some kind of rope to hang...
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I use my own specially designed scissors for the murders. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very... And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences.
Big Mac? Are you...
Listen up, Big Mac! There's
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who... There's a pattern there! Just
pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
is it because...
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
in all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims...
They were all...
That's right! The people I killed with such passion and conviction! I can't believe I said it!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl! And the mopey side of me just... But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged...
So, since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't...
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line! That's the absolute reality of...
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill...
Quiet, lowly!
Lowly?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survive. And if by some fluke I did, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the...
That does make some amount of...
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my pride. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid head?
Maybe you use the dumbbell because you...
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world.
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the...
Are you sure about...
She's fully...
That's right! So I can kill anywhere. Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty... Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. You can't, can you? Gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. So rope's totally out of the question
I have no idea what's going on anymore! Could such a heinous villain rip...
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police...
Yeah! That's why we...
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents. Or in plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack.
Are you saying...
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
Oh, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like the adorable glasses man was behind it all? Oh!
Well, Byakuya!
I see. So now then I must ask. When would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and think the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange. You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right?
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you wanted? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said
Nothing strange about that. On the contrary, there's something
okay then. What's so... Go ahead. Shit.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the fire. But he was acting weird. How?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
you wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
you wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro.
No, it's wrong! I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, so your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro...
I see. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning...
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more. What's the matter? You're not...
There is.
There is more to it. Think we just talked about the differences between the proof you're looking for is hidden in...
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same scissors.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong! Actually, I'm pretty sure you... Because, you see, that rope, that extension cord... What? Byakuya, You've used the extension cord in the library, and the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after... And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do...
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine...
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung... I intentionally made it look... Is that about right? What's wrong?
Hell yes, that's what happened.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
You kept calling this a game, right?
Sorry,
Do we really need to?
I know. There's something that's still...
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering? I killed her in the girls' locker room. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicide. What about all that bothers?
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the... But are you sure about that?
What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointment, she was found dead in the girls'... How could the scene of the crime...
Well, I think it's entirely possible, along with the rest of the...
The rest of the murder? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have...
I believe I...
Don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place so...
Shoot! I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is...
Your proof?
The poster in the girls' locker room. A picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, a poster of the super popular boy band. Again, that doesn't really...
So you're saying that maybe the poster...
And there's one other thing I know. You know what I'm talking...
You're referring to my protein. While I was in the girls' locker room, but I noticed that after the murder,
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet. In fact, I found it on the...
That's definitely the stain from my...
Then, does that mean that the carpets were split? But why would anyone...
To move the murder scene from one locker room to... What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with... By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but... What?
Huh?
Why would they go through all that plot? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder, then how did Chihiro get in the body? To get into the locker rooms, but Chihiro's handbook should have. She had no way to get into the.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you.
I highly doubt.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, that's wrong. No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be...
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against...
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup. Hit the nail square on the nut.
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked it, like I said.
You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security bug.
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she did...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is...
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the...
Okay then, I vote for B...
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker.
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other...
What?
What are you talking about?
Well, to explain, why don't we take a little break from the trial?
Wait. Just what?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting.
Huh? It'll make things... Well, all right then. I declare in a... Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not...
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty...
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place.
I'd like you to examine the victim's body. Be sure to examine the entire...
Examine her. No, wait.
It's probably best if I don't run my hands.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just...
Very well.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just...
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would... So just leave it.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chihiro.
Be sure to check her entire body. And I believe...
Her entire body? I know you... What?
What is it?
Not possible. This...
Is what?
is a boy!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting.
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was...
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off. Chihiro Fujisaki was
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show. Yes! Now let's ride this wave of excitement. Ahem. I do apologize for keeping you. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, and because the victim was male, he would have had no—
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy.
So then, there should be no issue with the victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook.
So Chihiro really was—
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does—
Well, I must admit, I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever.
There.
He's off in his—
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned,
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like but I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused—
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do—
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too— He consciously chose to use the extension cord. No, at least, that— And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed— And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy— If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had—
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete— It's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct, for the time.
Mark it as—
He's right. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room, and just—
Are you fucking with us right—
No, I am not effing with you right now.
Well, I find it very hard to believe—
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed alone.
If you're really telling the truth, then why?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is now then. If it wasn't me—
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought—
no, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore it because if we're wrong—
That's true. Very well.
Damn straight. Count me—
Do you not have a mind?
Of course I do. What am I?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one—
That's very true.
Our lives are all—
Excellent. Then shall we—
I got it!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Shoot!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
Shoot!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us?
Did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
No, what's wrong? I believe someone else did see the victim before he was...
Now that you mention it, yes.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duff, and then, I assume, he headed off.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed...
And that is when he said something that struck me as... Chihiro told me he was in a... But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were...
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work...
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out...
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting enough so that he was willing to risk...
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know...
No. You already have what you...
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously? Who is it?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become...
Are you sure about... You really think we can figure out who did it?
What? You want to track down some finger...
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to...
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything?
The bag was just a normal duffel. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make...
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose. Do you think there might be some...
Perhaps. Let's explore that. First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Because exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit, personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing. First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Because exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit, personally.
Shoot!
First of all, he was on his way, so next we have to ask, why did he choose this?
What do you mean?
I got it! It matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit? My tracksuit is black!
I don't even have it, because exercising sucks!
I have a white tracksuit, personally.
Shoot!
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black!
I don't even have a tracksuit. Because exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit, personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black!
I don't even have a tracksuit. Because exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit, personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must...
Did any of that really help us get...
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it? First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're... The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit?
No, that's wrong! Hold on a second, Mondo. What?
Huh?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago... She never said anything about the... So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just... Hey, Celeste. What color...
As a matter of fact,
And before we began the trial, did you...
the only one I told about any of this was...
Then, Mondo, how did you...
Because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the
No, that can't be. The bag and clothes were surely...
Then the only reason he could have known is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only...
Cherry.
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According... When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro makes you just ran into him briefly. You couldn't possibly have seen
It would appear you dug your own...
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with?
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big... Your true intention was to draw a slip. That's why you said you knew who did it. To put them on...
That's right. Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the...
But why? What made you so...
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women. You only call guys dude. For girl, and after he was killed, you have to... Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something.
You didn't notice such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not not nearly as frightful as someone capable...
Mondo, did you really...
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say. What gives you the right to treat me like a god?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that...
That was...
Well, this does present us with a problem.
That's what my little...
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me...
Really? What kind...
Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it here calmly...
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away?
What it happens to be an e-handbook. I found it.
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing for a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit.
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's...
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks...
You're right. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take...
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting for all your confidence. That is a remarkably...
Do you think there might be some kind of how precisely?
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook...
Yeah! You remember? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak...
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke...
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weak... You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want the...
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it...
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own...
Oh, well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't then allow me to make a special announcement? When it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown, and I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on... The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get... It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates it. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you definitely... That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to...
Interesting. I learned...
That is a mere trifling...
Anyway, if you found the victims, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its...
Meaning the culprit somehow knew...
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell any...
Indeed.
What if they found out by...
What do you mean by...
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna? They'd realize it was broken, of course. And it wouldn't be hard. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose...
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done... I don't know of anyone who took their handbook...
I might know someone who... Whoa! I think the one who may have taken the... Here's my answer. Mondo, your handbook.
What? Why? Why do you...
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school, but little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in... And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could
No, wait, hold on! You've got it all wrong! I don't accept this! Show me the proof!
Let's test. Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he said. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto. If what he said, you broke your own.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is, then that proves that what Makoto said.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he said. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says is. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that what Makoto said is wrong.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's. If what he says is. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if then that proves that what.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he said. You broke your own hand.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's. If what he said. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto. If what he said, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong!
Is this... I refuse to give up yet!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, that proves that what...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's... If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually... then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after... Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo... You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is, then that proves...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's if what he said you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if then that proves that what—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine! Shoot!
I refuse to give up yet!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's hand, then that proves that what Makoto said—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine! Shoot!
Let's test if what he said you broke your own. In other words, if Mon, then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he's—
says is correct, you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually— then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo,
you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Is this— I refuse to give up yet!
test Makoto's assertion. If what he said, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot! Let's test if what he said, you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot! Let's test Makoto. If what he said, you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that what...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he said, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo, then that proves that...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he said, you broke your own hand. In other words, if then that proves that what Makoto...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look, Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Is this really the end? I refuse to give up yet!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just...
No, it's wrong. Mondo, the handbook you have right now.
The fuck is that?
The broken handbook that was in them isn't that one.
What the heck are you talking?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for... I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook, which would mean that the handbook But doesn't that violate the school regulation that...
Well, here's how... There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it's as such. I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse...
Well, Mondo, I'm happy to admit I made a mistake.
Son of a bitch. What's wrong, bro? Come on. You are wrong. You have... Everything you just said is...
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case? That way, everything will be... killer is you! First, let's... Last night, Celeste, at the time, she was a... That something was a blue tracksuit. With bag in hand, she made her way to the locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl... Simple. Because which is why he was able to use his own handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who... Here's exactly what happened. Once inside, he met... It seems likely that the killer grabbed the near... and attacked him. And that's where the blood's... It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt up. Which is why the killer hurried to then removing the bloody... And finally carrying a girl's handbook was necessary to get into, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was... After all, Sayaka and Jun using one of those. And that's exactly how, with the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room. In what... That could have been the end of things. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to... So, after stumbling, he went and grabbed the extension cord. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Here's exactly what happened. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own, he wanted to create the illusion that And around the same time that Byaku, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings there, they planned to destroy the... The killer is you! And around the same the killer, there... And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin somehow. The killer knew that the handbook could, and the reason they knew that is, and that's how it all... Isn't that right, Mondo?
Wait! No, where's your evidence? Yeah! Where do you need evidence? Without any proof? Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence. I won't listen.
I refuse to give up yet!
Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence. I won't listen. I refuse to vote. Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence. I won't listen. You're corrupt. I refuse to vote. I refute you. False. You're corrupt. Show me some evidence. I won't listen. Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence. I won't listen. Show me some evidence.
This should prove it. If my thinking so far is Mondo must have replaced his throat, in which case, we can just check each of our hands once we do that.
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it.
Bro!
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... Go ahead, Monokuma. Ask for the god...
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever. Who will you elect as the black? Will you make the right choice? Or what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What? Unbelievable.
Sorry.
What is this?
Now then. Actually... Hey, What?
But... That's right. I want to change.
Hey,
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Indeed. Certainly.
But...
Because... I knew it.
What is this? You're wrong!
Don't make me repeat myself.
Hey,
I just... Don't fuck with me. I just...
I'm sorry. Huh? But I want to change.
You piece of... What? What?
Huh?
What?
No! What's wrong?
Damn you!
I just wanted to...
Yeah, that's right. You son of a bitch! I killed Chihiro, even after all this time. I'm still... And thanks to that, I did something I can...
Yep.
It can't be.
Well.
Ridiculous.
Now then, I prepared a Let's give it everything.
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
This.
Naturally.
Hey. However...
What?
Honestly. There is nothing to be done.
What?
Well...
That's right.
I see.
But...
Interesting.
Correct. Indeed. Hey,
What's this?
you...
How exciting!
That's enough. In the name of my family.
You're getting all riled up!
Well, anyway, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah. Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get... Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. Their fear and despair charged full. But I must admit, I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group. And you do remember you were supposed to make the first... Well, no biggie. Nothing we can do about it now. So just do your best to make things more exciting after all. That's what everyone wants to see. As long as you don't want to know my measurements. Ooh, my. You really took me by... I know I said you could ask it. Super denied, ultra denied, demonic denied. Because you... And nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their...
I know I shouldn't cry, but I've had enough. I can't take it any getting out of here. And I can't let myself think about how much I want to get out of here. If I keep thinking like that,
Okay.
Huh? But...
Oh. So then...
How about that? Impossible.
Well...
like...
Well... Is that okay? Huh?
Here we go!
There is nothing to be done.
You know? I'm right?
Perhaps. Well then.
You called for me, and so I appeared. Yes! You SOB!
What?